Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a skill that's becoming, well, pretty much essential for everyone. We're going to talk about how to talk to AI so you get those brilliant results you're picturing in your head instead of, generic fluff. Okay, let's just start with a feeling I bet we've all had. You've got this great idea, right? You ask an AI for help, and what you get back is just garbage. I mean, it's vague, it's useless, and honestly, it's a total waste of time. Sound familiar? I thought so. So, how do we fix this? Well, we've got a plan. First, we're going to really nail down what the problem is. Then, we'll dive into this thing called prompt engineering. After that, I'm giving you a practical toolkit you can use right away. We'll even look at some next-level techniques and wrap up with why this is going to be such a critical skill for, well, pretty much everyone. All right, let's get right into the core issue. It really all boils down to one simple, kind of brutal truth with AI. Garbage in, garbage out. What you put in is exactly what you get out. And here's the thing. The problem usually isn't the AI model. It's us. It's the way we're asking the questions. And look, this right here is the perfect example. Asking, how can I improve my business it's so broad, the AI has to basically guess what you mean. The answer is going to be useless. But then, look at the good prompt. It's specific. It gives a goal, customer retention. It names the business type, e-commerce, handmade jewelry. That focus, that's the raw material the AI needs to give you something you can actually use. There's actually a name for this. The expert Bernard Marr calls it the vagueness trap. And it's exactly what it sounds like. The AI isn't a mind reader, right? So if you don't give it enough detail to chew on, it literally has no choice but to spit back a really shallow, superficial answer. Yeah, and MIT Sloan has a similar idea. They call it the context vacuum. It's the same principle. Without those specific, granular details, the who, what, where, why, the AI is just operating in this empty space, this vacuum. And the results, they're going to feel just as empty. So the big question is, how do we escape this trap? How do we fill that vacuum? Well, that brings us right to the solution. It's a skill that's becoming more valuable by the day. And it's called prompt engineering. And hey, don't let the name scare you off. It's not nearly as technical as it sounds. Really, at its heart, prompt engineering is just the art of being a great communicator. It's about picking the right words, the right structure to guide the AI. It's the difference between being a passive passenger just asking for a ride and being the active director telling the AI exactly where to go. And you know what? The basics are actually super simple. We're talking clear and specific language, sentences that make sense, and yeah, even decent grammar. All that stuff helps the AI figure out or, predict what you're actually looking for. Okay, now for the really good stuff. This is the practical part. We're going to build your personal prompting toolkit. I've got 5 super powerful frameworks you can literally start using today to get way, way better results from any AI. First up, we have the Role Plus Goal framework. It's so simple. You start by telling the AI who to be, like you are a financial coach or act as a personal trainer. Then you just state your goal. This little trick instantly focuses the AI's entire personality, its tone, its expertise, on what you need. Okay, our second framework, this one is probably my favorite. I love it because it completely flips the script. Instead of you doing all the hard work to write the perfect prompt, you make the AI help you build it. It's called the 5Q clarifier. You literally just tell the AI, before you answer, ask me 5 clarifying questions to get the context you need. What this does is it forces the AI to pull the most important details from you, which pretty much guarantees you're going to get a final answer that's way more tailored and actually useful. Struggling with a big decision? This next one is for you. It's the options, compare, decide flow. You just ask the AI to come up with a few different ways to tackle a problem, lay them out in a table with pros, cons, and risks, and then, here's the key part, recommend the best one based on the rules you set. And hey, remember this, you do not need to nail the perfect prompt on the first try. That's what the Iterative Refiner framework is all about. It's about treating the AI less like a machine and more like a creative partner. You start with a rough idea, get a first draft, and then you just go back and forth with it, refining, editing, and polishing it together. And last but not least in our toolkit, the checklist builder. This one is absolutely perfect for turning a huge, vague goal into a real, concrete plan. Just ask the AI to create a step-by-step checklist, but also tell it to include things like timelines, what tools you'll need, and maybe most importantly, common mistakes you should try to avoid.
Okay, so once you get comfortable with those frameworks and they start to feel like second nature, you can level up. You can start combining them into more advanced techniques that unlock even more power.
One really powerful technique is called prompt chaining. The best way to think about it is like an assembly line for a complex project. You break the big job into smaller, manageable steps. The output from step one becomes the input for step two, and so on. This lets you tackle massive multi-stage projects with an incredible amount of control.
But here's where things get really exciting. The whole world of prompting is expanding way beyond just text. We're now in the era of multimodal AI. That means these models can understand images, audio, even video. And what that means for you is that your prompts can be so much richer, giving the AI layers of context that words alone could never capture.
Just take image creation, for example. Look at how it's broken down. It's not just about asking for a picture of a robot. You can get incredibly specific. You can direct the subject, the action, the style, the composition, all the way down to the final edits. You're the director. So where is all this going? Let's zoom out for a second and talk about why mastering this stuff isn't just a fun party trick. It's quickly becoming a core skill for the future of work. You know, for a while there, the job title prompt engineer got a ton of hype, right? But the reality is a little different. Prompting is becoming a fundamental skill for everyone, woven into jobs we already have. Marketing, data science, you name it. Think of it like knowing how to use Google, but on steroids. But with all this new power comes some really important warnings. First, you have to know that AIs can hallucinate. That's the fancy term for, well, for making stuff up. So you always have to verify important facts. And second, and this is so crucial, never, ever put sensitive personal or company information into a public AI. Just think of it as a public conversation. You wouldn't shout your bank details in a crowded room, right? Same idea. And all this brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. Look, as these AI models get better and better at understanding what we mean, even from our messy, imperfect prompts, maybe the most essential human skill won't be crafting the perfect sentence. Maybe the real skill, the one that really matters, is the deeply human ability to formulate the right question, to define the right problem we're trying to solve in the first place.